Alright mate, today I'm going to talk about the biggest fear that I've ever had to deal with. When I was about 12, 13, around that age anyway, I used to have a lot of fears actually. I was scared of clowns, lifts, spiders, elevators, heights. I was a bit of a pussy to be honest, but the biggest thing that always stood out to me was death. There was like a good year-long period where I would just cack myself every single night and just not be able to sleep as I just drifted into this abyssal mind frame of like, where do we go? What happens? I don't want to go. And now I can't wait to die. Wait, I am okay. That just came out a little bit wrong. The point of the story is that somehow I managed to overcome this fear. I'm going to tell you how I did it. I'm going to tell you how I did it in 3 to 4 easy steps. 3 optional, 4 if the other 3 don't work. See? Options. Look at me, I'm so generous. Step 1. Distraction. See what I did there? It was a distraction. This is the most immediate rule, the quickest one to follow, the one that you can do right now. And it's the one that saved me from not being able to get to sleep. Because I used to literally just lie in bed until like 5 o'clock in the morning, not being able to sleep because I was scared of death. Not that that was unusual for me anyway, because I'd like stay up till 5 o'clock in the morning with my DS under my pillow. Well, like, I literally used to sit up. I used to lie in bed, get into bed, I got snuggled, like, already asleep, and then death. I didn't know what to do, so my immediate response, went into my brother's room and I cried. And he introduced me to the Mighty Boosh. I'm hungry! There's not like a single negative thing in the Mighty Boosh, it's just all positive and funny and nice and warming. And we stayed up until the early hours watching Mighty Boosh until I fell asleep on his sofa in his room, and I did that for a good half a year. I would go in, we'd watch the Mighty Boosh, and I'd sleep on his sofa. And it worked. Obviously, not everybody has a sibling they can go and watch the Mighty Boosh with. Not everybody likes the Mighty Boosh. Which, why? Freak.
I'm gonna make you wear a little dress and hurt you.
Point is, if you're not thinking about it, you're not thinking about it. It can't hurt you. So find a distraction. Find anything that's a distraction. Obviously, lying in bed at night is the worst. It used to get to the point where like, my stomach would like fall out my arsehole. Yeah, Mighty Boosh was my saviour, but you'll have your own. Like, actively think about something else. If it's popping into your head, you have to make the conscious decision to not think about it. Like, forcefully think about something else. Like, forcibly think about, like, puppies. It sounds ridiculous, but if you cram puppy images into your brain enough, there's no more room for death. But you can't distract forever. So that's why we move on to zone 2. Figuring out what it is that scared you. Because my first thing, whenever I spoke to anybody older in my family, whenever I used to talk to my grandparents or my mum or my dad or anyone like that, they would always be like, why? Like, they couldn't get it. They couldn't get why I was scared. It was like, their excuse was, well, it's natural, like, it happens to everybody, there's no need to be scared, like, there's nothing to be scared of. You've got ages away yet, it's fine. But you have to really, like, figure out what it is. Like, it's all well and good distracting for the moment. If you need to get to sleep, distract the shit out of yourself. But you need to actually have a think, like, why are you scared? Because then you can overcome it. The reason I think I was scared, I say think, the reason I was scared, was that I didn't know what happened after I died, so that terrified me. And the second one was that I wasn't ready to go yet. I didn't want to die. I think it helps to have it in mind why you're actually scared, because if you know why, then you can start to like seek the answers to those questions, and that is ultimately what will resolve it. Step 3. This is solving those questions. Find a way to answer the questions that scare you. I'm not a religious person, but I know a lot of people fall back onto religion as a scapegoat from that. If you are a religious person, why the fuck are you scared? If you generally in your heart of hearts believe that there is a heaven, why are you scared? It's going to be a great time, you know, frolicking in your fields with your 17 dead dogs. It's a wonderful time, don't be scared. But like me, I am not a religious person, and I know a lot of people aren't religious, especially in my generation. Death counselling is tiring work. Yeah, I'm not a religious person. And I remember saying this to my grandma. I said to her that I was really jealous of religious people, and I feel like a lot of people are, just because the way that I thought about it, if I believed in God or heaven, then I would be scared. I'm really jealous of people who don't fear death because they believe they're going to heaven. But for me, in my little rational brain, I was like, I don't believe in that. Like, it's not, for me, it's not real. Where else do we go? It's just nothingness, alright? And then I had to figure it out. And thing is, science actually has answered where we go when we die. Here you are, here's a secret to what happens when you die. Because I know, apparently. I'm not a scientist, so take this with a grain of salt. I'm going to explain this as much as I can. I am a bit of a curious bugger. Like, I do like to do a Google on the old scientific majigamabob. But at the end of the day, I'm an art student, so I'm going to do it best as I can. It was Albert Einstein that said, look at me starting with a scientific quote. Oh, I've lost it. Right. Einstein said, "People like us who believe in physics know that distinction between the past, present and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion." Basically what that means is time isn't real. And if there is no time, then there is no end to life, because end is just something that we perceive, because the end doesn't exist, because time isn't real. And this is actually backed by a lot of science, that time isn't real. There was this study done, I'll link it down below, where a scientist basically tracked a photon, and photons can basically behave as waves or as particles, and they tracked it. So it had to go down a fork, and down whichever fork it would have to behave a particle or as a wave. And then after it, the scientist flicked a switch, and what that scientist did after the experiment determined what the particle did beforehand. So somehow the particle knew that the scientist was going to like meddle with it and behaved accordingly. Because to a photon, time isn't real. And obviously there are a lot of scientists that say that that's only subatomic scales and like reality as time, but it's up in the air. I personally believe what the shit I'm spouting. The thing that burst in my brain was that you are alive right now, but to your great-great-great-grandparent, you haven't been born yet. And to your great-great-great-grandkids, you've been dead a long time already. Like, every person is perceiving time. Everyone perceives reality. Like, there is no definitive now. There are billions of nows. And the now you're experiencing is just the now right now.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
The universe has already ended, and it's not begun yet, because it all happens at the same time. We just experience it slice by slice, basically, is the easiest way to think of it. So how can we die if there is no time? Like, time only exists because we perceive it. And that's basically my solution, is that if you have a religion, then go be reincarnated, go to heaven, enjoy yourself, frolic around in the buff. But if you don't, if you're an atheist, rely on science, dig deep into like quantum mechanics and times and scientific theories of death and consciousness, and it'll ease you. I'm getting deep into a rabbit hole. Basically, just find your own solution to it, answer your own questions in any way you can, in a way that you can believe it. Because that was my thing, like, I was scared because I couldn't believe religion, so I basically created my own thought process, which made perfect sense to me, and that's how I escaped it. Because now I'm not terrified at all, now I'm, like, curious, like, I want to experience that now, like, I'm just really intrigued by it. And the way that I think about it now is that, like, obviously I want to live a full life, but I'm also quite intrigued to when that time comes, to experience that with like an open mind, to be like, well, let's see what this is all about then. So it's a positive, basically. Final step, the end, after that really deep rant where I just kind of want to go and like have an existential crisis. Oh god. Anyway, final step. If that doesn't work for you, if you can't think of a thought process that justifies it at all, just wait. You'll outgrow it. This was a fear that I had when I was like about 12, and I spoke to my mum about it, and she also had the same fear when she was about 12. And I feel like it's that fear that hits when you first realise that we're gonna die. Everybody has that moment. Someone in the family dies, or they just like... For me, actually, what triggered it, my mum bought me the box set of Saw for my birthday, and I was like 12. I was raised on like horror films. I was watching like Freddy Krueger by the time I was like 3.
Ooh, you're odd.
But I had a whole Saw marathon, and that's what triggered like, wait a second, I'm gonna die soon. And that's what started the fear. And I feel like once you get used to it and used to the concept, it's not scary anymore. It's just when the thought is fresh. And, you know, if you don't outgrow it, then you really need to work on the other steps and like figure out what it is that's scaring so much and find a way to answer those questions so they don't scare you. But otherwise, just don't stress it. Yeah, it's going to be like a shitty half a year where you're going to cack your kids and shit your bed every night, but once it's over and it's all gravy. But yeah, that's how I overcame my fear of death anyway, and I hope it works for you. If it doesn't, I'm sorry for wasting your time, but if you thought this helped you, this eased your weary head, I'd appreciate if you could press that chunky red button and show me that you love me, because I need gratification from strangers. And drop me a little like to let you know that you liked it, or a dislike if you didn't like it. And comment why you didn't like it.
Why would you do that to me?
Anyway, hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Farewell. See you later.